This is the Executive Profile, exclusively on CBT News. Today's episode has been sponsored by the Presidio Group.
On this edition of the Executive Profile, we spotlight a visionary leader who has transformed a family-owned dealership into a nationally recognized automotive powerhouse. Aaron Ziggler, President and CEO of Zeigler Automotive Group. The company's story began in 1975 when Aaron's father, Harold Ziggler, opened a single dealership in Michigan. Since then, under Aaron's bold and strategic leadership, the Zeigler Automotive Group has expanded to include over 80 automotive franchises across 4 states, representing nearly every major manufacturer and consistently ranking among the top dealer groups in the United States. Yet beyond the impressive scale and growth, what truly defines Zeigler Automotive is its exceptional culture. In an industry often challenged by high turnover among its employees, Zeigler has built a workplace centered on teamwork, leadership development, and long-term opportunity. With a strong focus on promoting from within and empowering employees at every level, the company fosters an environment where people thrive and stay. In this segment, we'll take a closer look at how Aaron Ziggler is honoring his family's legacy while boldly shaping the future of automotive retail through innovation, investment in people, and the relentless drive to be the best in the business. Check out this edition of the Executive Profile featuring Aaron Ziggler. Aaron Ziggler, President and CEO of Zeigler Auto Group. Thanks so much for allowing us to come into your incredible Ferrari dealership here in Illinois. Talk to us a little bit about the store and its background.
Yeah, Jim, welcome to Lake Forest Ferrari. So this is one of the largest Ferrari stores in the country and one of the best run. And it's kind of legendary. And Rick Mancuso, the Mancuso family, started this 42 years ago.
Wow.
And it was just awesome to be able to have the opportunity to work with these guys and partner with them going forward. And it's been a lot of fun.
That's great. That's great. We're showing pictures right now of this incredible showroom, and it just goes on forever. I think it's some 60 or 70,000 square feet.
Yeah, a little over 70,000 square feet.
Wow.
It kind of looks like a museum. There's some really, really cool cars in here.
Yeah, no question. It does. When you drive up to it, it doesn't look like your typical dealership. I mean, we're in a corporate park, and you've got some very, very nice outside that's built with brick, not showroom glass. Talk to us about that.
Correct. Well, Ferrari is a destination brand, right?
Yeah.
So people come from all over the country to purchase here, and we inherited the facility from the Mancusos, and they did a wonderful job building this out and having a really, really cool look.
Sure, it's gorgeous. And the Mancuso family, that was, I think, the only store that they had. Was this location?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Rick Mancuso started. He had his 3 kids working here, and they all carried on with us. That was kind of part of the deal, that they'd run a really good dealership, and
wow,
we thought we could partner with the 2 families and help take this thing to the next level and build upon what they've done.
That's great. So let's talk a little bit about background and families in the auto industry. Your family dates back to the 70s in the auto industry. Talk to us, for the dealers that are not as familiar with your background and you coming up through the industry as we are here at CBT News. Tell us a little about your background and how you were brought into the business.
So my dad, Harold Ziggler, started the company back in the mid-70s. He originally started working at a car dealership, sweeping floors, couldn't afford to go to college, started selling cars in the summer, made enough money to go to college and put his way through school, and then saved up some money and bought a really small Ford dealership out of bankruptcy.
Wow, no kidding.
And turned it around, and Ford was very happy, so they gave him a Lincoln Mercury Point in Kalamazoo, and kind of kept building from there.
Sure.
And then I grew up in the industry and kind of worked every position through service and parts and sales, and then I became president a little over 20 years ago.
Wow. Really at a very young age. I mean, you were 27, 28 years old?
Yeah, correct. And my dad was about that age when he bought his first
oh, that's
dealership.
pretty cool.
He was 26 when he bought his first dealership.
So he knew you could handle it.
Yeah. Worked out all right.
How many stores at that time when you took over did Zeigler Auto have?
So there was, when I became president, there was 6 dealerships.
Okay.
In Michigan and Indiana.
Okay. 6. And today you have?
41 locations.
41 locations.
88 franchises.
Wow. That is incredible. That's some major growth taking place there, right?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and we've got a great group of people that we work with, and it's really been them that's been the driving force of the growth.
And I would imagine that your dad is on your cell phone speed dial at anything. You guys talk about the business?
Yeah, we talk on a daily basis. We've
Yeah.
got a wonderful relationship. He's a ton of fun to talk to. He's a wealth of knowledge.
Well, sure.
Still loves the business, even though he gets to do a lot of fun stuff outside the business as well. But him and I talk almost every day. We always have something in common. It's great.
Of course, of course. Tell us a little bit about taking over, because there's a lot of people that are watching right now that are both dealers that have got their kids in the business, and there's kids that are watching where their parents brought them into the business. Talk to us about that transition and taking over your parents' operation.
Yeah, it was a really smooth transition. So when I went to school, I had no inclination of coming in and taking over, and didn't know what I wanted to do. But I graduated high school on a Friday. I sold my first car on a Monday, and just it was an adrenaline rush. I knew that's what I wanted to do the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Sold all the way through college, and then after I got out of college, I was working at our Ford store in Plainwell.
Okay.
Went to the NADA Academy, and which was phenomenal for my career. You get about 10 years worth of information in 1 year. They do a fantastic job.
Yes, they did.
And took over a dealership as general manager when I was 26, and then when I was 28, my dad brought me back as president of the organization, and he was still working full time for quite a while. We just had this kind of really slow kind of phase in for me and slow phase out for him. So nobody ever realized there was this transition. It happened over years and years and years.
Sure.
Out there, and he's still chairman of the company and still involved in the business. But it was a pretty smooth transition.
That's great, and you've put together so many different brands. Talk to us about what you look for when you acquire a group or a store.
So, single most important thing is location.
Okay,
and we're looking for locations that are growing or that are mature and are. You got a lot of population around them. Yeah. And we're kind of looking like, hey, what is this market going to do over the next 20, 25 years? Because when you're building a building, it's a long-term commitment. So we want to have something that's growing or an area that's really nice out there. And then we're looking for the right franchises in the right locations. Yeah. We're looking for, when you get into the domestics, you're looking for bigger volume locations. When you get into something like the Ferrari and the exotics, obviously you're looking for higher end household income in an area.
Yeah, for sure. With regard to the stores that you've put together, you've got some Stellantis stores in there. You've got some Nissan stores in there. Let's start with Stellantis. How do you feel about the company today? There's many dealers out there over the last 4 or 5 years very concerned about Stellantis and its future. However, they've put some new leadership in. We talked about that before we were recording today. But how do you feel about it as you sit here today?
We had a great run with Stellantis for 20 years. It was an unbelievable brand. Jeep is iconic, and they lost their way a couple years ago, and they had the wrong CEO, and I was very critical of them a year ago. Yeah. And I said, you got to get rid of your CEO, which they did. They kind of probably saw the same things that I did, and they're making all the right moves right now. Okay. Bringing back Tim Kaninis to run the Americas, and they're kind of recreating what they had from a success standpoint. They've got the right incentives out there now, kind of the right inventory levels. So I think they're going in a great direction, and I'm obviously bullish on them because I bought a Jeep store a month ago in Kalamazoo. Okay. So I believe in the direction that they're going, and I like what I see right now. It'll take a little bit of time, but each month keeps getting a little bit better with them.
Would you be looking to acquire more Stellantis stores today? Or?
Yeah, I think it's a great time to buy them because prices are probably a little bit down on those right now because of the profitability, but then you can grow with that going forward, and that's really what I did back in 08, 09. Right. Is kind of bought at the bottom, and then they became very valuable over time.
Yeah, of course. And as you said, those are iconic brands that are going to do well regardless. And with that new leadership in place, it's going to be a phenomenal franchise to own, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with where they're going. Yeah. Long-term future of them is.
So let's bring up the other problem child that's out there right now, which is Nissan. A lot of dealers are concerned that are Nissan stores that have Nissan stores, I should say, that are very concerned about that brand. They've made some changes. They're trying to do some things. They brought in some people from Toyota that run the operation as well. What's your feeling about Nissan today?
Similar to Stellantis, they kind of got off base, really over maybe like the last 5 years or so. And we've got a pretty good-sized Nissan store down in Orland Park, just southwest of Chicago. Does very well. We do, between 150 and 200 new and used out of there a month.
Nice.
And so we've done pretty well with Nissan. It's been pretty consistent. And I think they're also going in the right direction as well.
Sure. When you look for a store, how much does geography play into it? Because a number of your stores are in Illinois, right? And one or two other states?
Yeah, so we're in Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, and Wisconsin.
Okay.
So those 4 states.
And when you look for a store, are you looking to stay in those areas?
So we always look to grow in markets that we're already in, because you get a lot of synergies by doing that.
Sure.
And it also creates opportunities for our internal employees. And that's what really gets me excited. And that's why I really like to be able to grow and add locations, is to create opportunities internally for our employees. So it's a lot easier to grow internally. If we went down to like Florida, for example, which we would do, we'd have to buy a group of dealerships down there to be relevant in the market, to get the synergies you need to be profitable and get a return on these.
And is that a possibility in the future that we might see coming out of Ziggler?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, if it's the right deal, huh?
Correct.
Yeah, you look at both mass market vehicles as well as obviously luxury stores. Do you have a preference between the two?
It's really about the opportunity that we're looking for, and what we think we can do with a market. And you always look at what somebody's doing right now, and then you kind of put together your pro forma and think what you can do on it, and then you usually overpay them a little bit. But if you do what you think you can do, then you get a decent return out there.
Is it, when you take over a group, do you leave, as you did here, do you leave that management in place for the most part and then bring them into your culture, or do you give the management of that store to one of your current employees and your current staff?
So normally we bring in our own person at the top just to be able to build the culture.
Okay.
But we've had dealerships, like we did an acquisition a few years ago in Wisconsin. We took 330 employees between 4 stores. We took every single one of them, put one of our VPs over top of it, and that's the way that we can build the culture. Ferrari was a little bit different because it's one of the best run stores in the country. Ferrari's told us that, and the Mancuso family are really legendary in the Ferrari circle. So in this particular case, I said I would only buy it if they stay in on the deal, and I knew the family pretty well and really wanted them to, and knew that we would mesh well. We've got a lot of common interests. It was kind of two families coming together on this one. It's been a lot of fun. The Mancusos are wonderful people.
That's great.
Their customers absolutely love them. Every time I run into a customer, they say, "Don't screw this up. Don't change anything." And
we love the service.
I said, "All right, yeah, exactly."
Right. Today, in order to get a Ferrari, you don't just walk in and buy a Ferrari, right? You've got to kind of earn your spot.
Yeah, yes and no. It depends upon kind of which model you're looking at, but most models are sold 2 to 3 years out. And if you get into the really desirable models, especially the supercars, you have to kind of earn your way in. And Ferrari picks who's going to be able to purchase those, and they reward their best customers. And if you think about it, it kind of makes a lot of sense from that standpoint. So they actually allocate those cars to the customer, not the dealer.
And they definitely don't want you selling those cars if you buy one.
No, they want the customers that aren't going to just buy it and turn it to make money on it. They want the car enthusiast that's going to keep it, that's going to drive it, that's going to have it in their collection for a long time.
Yeah. And some of these cars, what's the highest price Ferrari you've got on the showroom right now?
So we had a 1992 Ferrari F40 that we just sold for a little over $3 million.
$3 million. Yeah. Wow. Your data list of customers must look like a who's who in American business and sports, right?
Yes, you would know a lot of the names, no question about it.
Not that we're going to...
We're not going to talk about the names. It is a who's who in the business and sports world.
That's right. And how are your other luxury brands doing in light of everything that we see in the economy taking place today?
I think luxury is the strongest part of the segment right now. You look at what we're doing with BMW and Mercedes and Land Rover, and we kind of run the gamut with the luxury brands, and they're a little bit more, with inflation, they're a little bit more inflation-proof, probably that customer, than you would have at an entry level. So the luxury brands are really, really solid right now, really strong. Yeah.
Does it surprise you that with all that the country is going through right now, with the talk of tariffs and high interest rates and things like that the stock market is still cranking along, and these people are still going out and buying cars, and luxury cars, I should say?
Yeah, I think you can't get too caught up in the rhetoric out there, because negative news usually sells. So there's a lot of negative information out there. But
that's for sure.
You look at it, and interest rates they're higher than what they've been the last 10, 15 years. They're starting to come down. But historically, it's about an average interest rate, or probably a little bit below an average interest rate. But we still think they're gonna start to go down going forward. I think people are pretty bullish on the economy from that standpoint on rates. Tariffs, I think that'll all kind of work itself out. I get it. It's got to be fair both ways.
Sure.
If somebody's charging us a tariff, we have to charge them the same tariff back. We
Right.
can't pay a higher tariff than
Sure.
what they are. So I think it'll put us in a much better position going forward.
And as the CEO of a company that's got 88 franchises, are you ready to take that leap with the president to say, hey, do what you got to do and we'll work this thing out?
Yeah, I think whatever is best for the overall country and the economy will ultimately be best for the auto industry in the long run. There might be a little short-term pain there, but long-term, we'll get through it. We always do, and I think it'll be best for the country.
Sure. When you talked a little bit about putting your vice presidents in place, when you do keep the team in place to maintain that culture, talk to us a little bit about the culture at Zeigler Auto Group, because I know that you have been, at the top of a lot of dealers' minds because you've done such a great job in the area of building a great team and having a great culture. So much so that you don't have the same turnover that other dealer groups have or other dealerships have. So what goes into that? What do you need to focus on in order to win in that category?
Well, the only way you can grow is to have stable employment. Otherwise, you can't grow.
Right.
So I think culture is an often used buzzword out there, and I think a lot of people don't understand it. And we've really immersed ourselves into culture. And it's hard to explain a culture, but you can feel it.
That's right.
You can feel the energy when you walk into a dealership. If people are smiling and they're happy and they're dressed properly. So I always say, look, if you wake up in the morning and you can't wait to get to work and you love the people you work with, that's a world-class culture.
Right.
And that's what we want to build in every one of our dealerships. And I said, it starts with our development program. So day one, when somebody comes to work for us, so we buy a new dealership, we have what's called Keys to Success. Okay. Sounds a lot better than New Hire Orientation Program. But it teaches our people what our expectations are and how we do things. And it's not, bathrooms down there on the left.
Sure.
Let me show you where the bathroom is. It's those little things that we teach people to do to give our customers that world-class customer experience. And then we also empower our people to do anything to make a customer happy. You don't have to go to a manager or a general manager to do that. If it's the right thing to do, just do it. And we're going to back you on that. And the worst case scenario, we spend a little bit too much on a customer. We make them a little too happy, and those are coaching moments. But when you think about culture, if your employees have to be happy to have happy customers. If you don't have that, it doesn't work.
That's right.
And then if employees are well compensated, and the sky's the limit with what you can make for us. It's based on performance. If your performance is exceptional, you're going to get paid more than anybody else in the industry.
Okay.
We give people room for advancement, and then we've got a really strong development program that teaches them to be able to move up in the company, and I think that's been a lot of our success. So I think if you get the right people going in, you develop them, you pay them very well, and they're excited to come to work. That creates that world-class culture, and that's how we've been able to really grow the organization.
Sure. And in growing the organization, you mentioned you're at 88 franchises today. How many is enough? If we're sitting here 10 years from now, is it 188? Is it still 88 and you're running a great operation? Or when do you just go, I think we have enough?
I get asked that question a lot.
Yeah.
The reality is it's a lot easier to run 88 franchises than it was when I started, 30 years ago, because you have a basis of people all moving in the same direction, and you got a lot of horsepower to be able to do that. But there's no number out there that I'm looking for. I think that's dangerous. I think that's ego-driven.
Yeah.
And we just take each individual opportunity, and if it makes sense for us and it makes sense for the company and it makes sense for our employees, then we'll do it. But we're not dying to go buy anything tomorrow, but if something came up tomorrow and it was the right deal, we'd certainly do it.
Okay. So for dealers that are watching, if you're looking to sell your group, you may be a buyer.
Yeah, we'd be happy to talk to them. And we get a lot of calls, and I think the reason why we do that is we always do what we say we're going to do. If we shake hands on what a deal is going to be, it's going to go down on paper exactly that same way, and that's not always the case in the industry.
No,
I always say, hey, here's a list of dealers I've bought from. Call the last 10 guys and tell them how it went.
Yeah, that's strong.
And
that's
one of the ways that we get deals. We get a lot of deals from manufacturers now. A lot of first right of refusals.
Okay.
Manufacturers have gotten very, very aggressive on first right of refusal, especially on the import side of things. So we pick up a lot of deals on first right of refusal.
That's great. That's fantastic. So to your point, it is in a lot of cases. I've spoken to other people, your colleagues in the industry that have got 30, 40, 50 dealerships, and they have pretty much said the same thing, that once you get that leadership in place and that management in place, picking up the additional stores is not as hard as maybe running just a few earlier on, right?
Yeah, if you go from 1 store to 2, that's doubling the size. If we go from 41 to 45, it's a 10%, increase out there. So it's a lot easier to do that. And I think is what you're seeing is groups are buying out other groups now as the industry gets a little bit more consolidated.
Right. If the phone call came in from a big group that said, "Hey, you guys do an incredible job. We'll give you, some of these numbers that people are paying for these well-run groups is, obviously in the billions of dollars." Is that something that you'd consider or look at? Or?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't consider it. I'd go home and I'd look at a bank account and I'd be miserable because I love what I do.
Right.
I love the people. I love our employees. I love going to the event. It's my lifestyle.
Yeah, that's great.
And I have no interest in selling and never.
And you're young enough that you got a lot of runway ahead of you.
Exactly, and we've got a lot of stuff we still want to accomplish out there. So there's no number that we'd ever sell for.
That's cool. And you mentioned to me before we got recording that now your son is in the business, right? So talk to us about that. That's pretty exciting. Right?
Yeah, all 4 of my kids have worked in the business. He's the first one that's graduated college. The other ones are still going through college and high school.
Sure.
But all of them have worked in different positions in the dealership based on what they like. And he started out washing cars and as a porter and worked his way up and then started selling motorsports and then has sold cars the last few years. And he's really enjoyed it. So when he graduated college, he knew exactly what he wanted to do. And
that's great.
He's working at our Mercedes store in Chicago.
Fantastic. Do you see him on a similar path that you were on?
Yeah, it's completely up to him, and he's got to prove himself out there. I'm probably harder on my kids than I am on any other employee, but so far, all my kids, I'm very fortunate. They all get great grades. They've done great things. I make them stay humble.
Yes.
Out there, and if he continues on that trajectory, he's going to do great things in life.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Talk to us about what that dealership might look like in 20 years that your son or daughter take over. With all that's happening right now in the area of technology, and I'm referring to AI. I mean, it's playing such a huge role, not just in corporate America and business and everything that we do, but certainly in the automotive industry. Talk to us about the impact that AI will have in our industry moving forward.
It's interesting. In my entire career, I've heard of the death of the car dealer. The internet's coming out. You'll never make money on new cars anymore. Exactly. But what happens is this technology enhances the experience. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, it's relationships that sell products.
Right.
And it's a relationship-based business. So we use a lot of technology. We're using AI, and we're embracing it. And you have to continuously reinvent yourself to stay relevant out there, and we'll continue to do that. But ultimately, it's not going to take over for the people in the dealership. It's still going to come down to creating world-class customer experiences and world-class service for customers. That's what's going to win.
Do you see it as a tool that can help you as a dealer run the dealership on less headcount? Do you think it can get to that point where you say, hey, maybe we don't need to spend as much on the human capital as we did in the past because of the technologies?
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but I don't think it's going to have a big impact because it's still people that make the difference.
Okay.
If technology could run these things, everybody would be doing the same, right? Everybody would be successful out there. And you see a wide range of dealerships in different levels of success. So I think it's embracing that technology, figuring out a way to use it, but it's still people that have to manage that technology and run with it. But it's definitely made our lives easier. The internet has made the buying cycle much shorter when somebody comes in because they have a lot more information that they used to have to get from the dealer. Now they get that online, just like I would do if I'm going to buy something out there. So technology definitely makes the world easier. It makes the car business easier. It makes you more productive. You get a lot more data when you're looking at what used cars you want to buy and what you want to sell and what you want to hold.
Mm-hmm. Speaking about that, the technology, you and I spoke a lot during COVID and after COVID hit and then after COVID kind of went away. And we talked about digital retailing and people buying a car online, and you guys were all geared up for that. Where does that stand today with consumers and with Zeigler Auto Group? Are people buying cars online the way that we thought they might be? And is that the future of the industry?
So we will sell a car any way the customer wants to. So if they want to buy a car 100% online and never talk to somebody, we can do that.
Okay.
Very few people want to do that because ultimately you always have some questions because it's a big purchase, one.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of moving pieces to it, and it's complex, and you want to make sure you get all your questions answered, and a computer can't answer every single question out there. So it's a very small percentage that do it 100% online.
Okay.
Now, we do a lot of sales out of state, especially when you get into the higher ends of the exotics. It's almost like a nationwide deal. So we will, and we always tell a customer, look, if you're buying a car online, we're going to send it to you. If it's not exactly what we said, just send it back.
Right.
And we never get cars sent back because we want to be completely open, completely transparent with customers. But we do a lot of that where they don't actually come to the dealership anymore. Right. But if somebody wants to do the traditional process where they come to the dealership and whatnot, but very few people come to the dealership and have not made a contact in advance with the dealership. Okay. Usually it's an appointment set up.
Okay. And in terms of the service of these vehicles, you were talking about picking vehicles out to or selling cars online or what have you, shipping them out. Mobile service has become very, very popular. Are you doing that at your stores? And I know Ford jumped into that in a very big way, but where does that stand?
We are, and we've had a tremendous amount of success with it. So we bought a Mercedes store a month after COVID hit, actually, here in Chicago, which was a little scary, but it ended up being okay. And they were not doing mobile service. And today we have 14 mobile service vans at 100% capacity. So we started with one, got it to full capacity, added a second one, and then a third one, and just kind of kept going out there. And we've really gone coast to coast with our mobile service vans, and customers absolutely love it.
Incredible. So that you feel that's the future of the business with regard to fixed ops?
Yeah. So I don't think there's one catch-all for anything, but there's a certain segment of the market that is absolutely going to love that.
Right.
If I was a customer, I would love that.
Yeah.
There's other customers that want to bring their vehicles in. Or with Ferrari, for example, Lake Forest, if a customer is within a 500-mile radius of the dealership, they pick up and drop off for free.
500 miles?
So it's 500 miles actually becomes 2,000 if you go out and back and then out and back again.
That's right.
But it's one of the ways that they've really built their service department. Everything is based on convenience for the customer and ease of business use.
Sure.
So it was really kind of a brilliant thing on their part. I don't think anybody else out there is doing that. They were the first ones.
Oh my gosh.
And really helped.
Are you in some cases going into other dealers' territory to get that car?
It's usually our customer, though.
Okay.
So, you get to realize the customers are kind of spread out around the country. So, and there's two Ferrari dealers in Chicago, so you're always going to be, kind of in the same market to some respects.
It's pretty impressive, though. Wow. I mean, you're going out that far. And so mobile service is doing well then. You feel good about it?
Mobile's doing great, yes. And as customers are getting more comfortable with that, then we flipped it over. Like you said, Ford's got a really strong program with that, but you have to hire a technician specifically for that. If somebody's going to be on the road a lot or not coming home at night, if they're going a long ways, usually that's not somebody that's married and got a bunch of kids. A lot of times it's somebody younger coming out of school. The technician deficiency out there, there's a lot more technicians that are retiring that are coming into the business.
Okay.
And that's because you can't work on a car with your dad in the driveway anymore. It's kind of unfortunate. There's too much technology in these things. So a few years ago, we started our own tech school. Okay. We graduate 40 techs a year.
No kidding.
That go into our dealerships. That's
fantastic.
And we've had a tremendous amount of success with that because, one, we don't charge the kids for it. We actually buy them tools when they come out. So they go to school. There's some great tech schools out there, but it's $80,000-$90,000 for a year. Yeah. Then you got to go buy your tools, so you're $100,000 in debt to start with our tech program. Yeah. There's no cost to it. So it's been very successful.
Growing your own.
Yes, we've got one school in Michigan and one in Illinois, full-time instructors. Wow. And it's been great. And our current techs love it too because they help to mentor the young kids.
That's fantastic. And those kids are working on EVs, which is my next topic. As we all know, the EV revolution was here and then it was gone. And the OEMs got in, the government got in, said, hey, we're going to be all EVs by 2035. And we all laughed at that and said, there's no way, not at this pace, will the industry go to that, by that amount of time. However, EV sales are up, as you know, and of course, hybrids are helping to make that leap to an all EV environment. And then, of course, with the president taking back the CARB rules and saying, hey, we're not going to adhere to this anymore. And now with the new bill, there's not going to be that $7,500 available to them. So I know I just put on a lot there, but talk to me about the EVs today and the market that's out there and the impact that those things will have.
I think there's certainly a market out there for EVs. And in certain applications, it works wonderful. but it is not for everybody. And I don't think the government should ever force what you have to buy. I think there should be options. You should have gas engines, you should have hybrids, you should have EVs, because then as a consumer, you can pick which one. Ultimately, though, whatever you build has got to be profitable. It's got to be profitable for the manufacturer. It's got to be profitable for the government. Got to be profitable for the dealers. That's kind of been the tough piece of the EVs.
Right.
Even as they've been subsidized at the $7,500, they're still not profitable out there, but they are growing in popularity as people get a little bit more comfortable with them. Where we've really seen an explosion is in the hybrids.
Okay.
Customers are just absolutely loving the hybrid technology.
Yeah. I see you've got a Ferrari back there that's plugged in.
Yeah, a number of Ferraris are hybrids.
It's kind of funny to see.
But it's cool because they actually do it to boost their the power on them, and they just plug into a regular outlet. It's really easy. So they've got a cool setup from that standpoint. Sure. With their EVs, and I think there's going to be other technologies that come out. Maybe it's hydrogen or something else, but that's just an evolution out there that we see. But consumers want choices, and as a dealer group, we're gonna give them those choices and not force anything. And anytime you try to force something, it's putting a round cylinder into a square peg just doesn't work.
That's right.
Out there, you got to let the market decide. What percentage of that EV is going to be going forward.
Right. In terms of the $7,500 going away. What kind of an impact do you think that'll have? I'd imagine a pretty good impact in the next couple of months. While people say, hey, if I'm going to buy an EV, I might as well do it now. You might clear out your shelves of EVs.
We think that we'll have a little boost here the next couple of months, so it'll probably pull some sales ahead.
Okay.
Which makes sense out there. Where we've had the most success on EVs is in the luxury market, because that customer's maybe not quite as price sensitive as other consumers, so that customer can just get what they want. So it probably doesn't affect the luxury market as much as it does the mass producers out there on the $7,500.
Okay. And then on used cars, they're going to be doing away with the $4,000 on the used cars, and
correct.
I'm assuming you're sitting with some used cars, used EVs.
Yeah, we do, and we've had some success with used EVs, but we do see those depreciating substantially more than the ICE-powered vehicles.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of hard. I've spoken to a number of dealers when a Tesla rolls in. How do you put a number on a Tesla right now, right? It's the big question.
Yeah, and one of the challenges, Tesla can turn off certain features on there. So if all of a sudden somebody wants, their Super Cruise turned back on, or autopilot, whatever they call it, all of a sudden it's $8,000.
Right.
And it's I don't buy into that. If it's already there, they shouldn't be getting involved in used car sales. So there's been some frustration on customers' parts out there, but they're certainly depreciating. But as they come down in value, that maybe brings more people into the market
that's true.
as well.
Yeah, that's true. However, ICE engines are here. I think they've got a very long runway ahead of them, right?
Yeah, if you think about this, there's 300 million cars on the road roughly in the United States. Yeah. We sell 15 million new cars. So say 50%, which we're not even close to 50%, but that'd be 7.5 million. We divide that into 300 million cars. It's a lot of runway left with ICE engines, and I don't see them going away anytime soon. Yeah,
talk to me about your philanthropic giving back to the community. I mean, you guys do it in a very big way. And I know it means a lot to you. Talk to us about that. The Drive for Life Foundation, the Ziggler Family Scholarship Program. You step up.
Yeah, that was something my dad taught me at a young age. It's not enough just to be successful in this world. Mm-hmm. You got to make the world a better place. Yeah. And we're very fortunate, and we got to give back to people that are less fortunate. Mm-hmm. So it's something we're really, really passionate about. So he started the Drive for Life event, 45 years ago. Mm-hmm. First year it raised like $3,000, and then it was $10,000, and went to $100,000, and now it raises over $1 million every year.
That's fantastic.
We've added a couple more events to that, but we'll raise $1 million in one night. We're doing it coming up here in September.
Wow!
It's a lot of fun, and a lot of our employees really get behind it. A lot of our vendors really get behind supporting that, and then we also do a Ride for Life now, which is a snowmobile ride from one end of the Upper Peninsula to the other end in one day.
No kidding.
So I participated in that last year. It was a lot of fun, and that raised some good money really too. Cool. And then we do a lot of matching with the foundation, so we put a lot of money behind it as well. But it's a lot of fun to do it. It's very rewarding.
I bet.
to be able to do that. And if we look at something and say it's good for the community, and we want to be a part of it, we want to do it.
And I know you're not doing it for this reason, but the community responds, right, to those companies that are giving back to their community. They see that.
Yeah,
and I know you don't do it for that reason, but it's just a good thing to do, right? It's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's part of your brand, it's part of your culture, part of your DNA.
Sure.
We try not to publicize much that we do
Okay.
out there. We really talk about it a lot more internally with our employees, and teaching them to give back and volunteer. And it's more than just money; it's also the volunteer piece of it and the time that you put behind things as well to make the communities better places.
Sure. And associates of your company today, they've done many polls at colleges, and they've said, what are you looking for in an employer? And always, to go with an employer that has a cause, that is giving back to their community, and that's important to employees today, right?
Yeah,
to be part of an organization like that.
Yeah, I always tell young people coming out of school, find something that you love to do and find the right company that shares your values. And we put our values out there. It's not just in some book that you got to dust off. It's in every one of our training centers. Our values are up on the wall of those. So it's forefront of our employees at all times. What we want to accomplish, how we want to conduct ourselves out there, and what we want to do for the communities.
Sure. Will you hire managers for your stores outside of your organization, or is everybody homegrown?
So occasionally we do hire from the outside. We like to homegrown them. If there's two people that are about equal, we always go with a person internally. And the vast majority of our promotions come from internal, from the organization. But occasionally, if we find somebody that'd be a great fit for our organization, we do bring them in from the outside.
Right. Okay. That means a lot to employees that they see that path, right?
Yeah.
That they can end up running stores or.
Yeah, we always say we're not a team; we're really a family, and I think a family is a stronger bond than what a team is out there. And it's even though we've grown a lot, I always want to have that family feel to the organization. I don't want it to be a corporate type feel to it.
Sure. Running a multi-billion-dollar company in a fast-changing industry, what are some of the lessons learned in a position like yours over the last 10 years, or maybe since you took over from your dad? What are some of the things that have jumped out that said, man, this made me a different manager or a different leader?
You gotta consistently reinvent yourself to stay relevant in the market, but also just because the herd's going one way, you may want to go the other way. So in 2008, when the financial crisis hit, nobody wanted to buy dealerships.
Right.
Everybody was selling dealerships, and I said, it's a good time to buy right now. And we bought dealerships for pennies on the dollar, and our organization would never be the size it was today, because back then we couldn't afford the full price, but when they were discounted, we could, and then you got a really good return off of it. Same thing with COVID. So when COVID hit, everybody was scared to death. They were scared about their jobs. They were scared about their paycheck.
Yep.
You don't really have, like in Michigan, we got shut down. We could not sell cars in Michigan.
Wow.
Well, you still have your mortgage, you still got your taxes, you still got all your expenses.
Yep.
So the first thing that we did is said, hey, we came out and communicated very, very well with the employees and said, don't worry about it, I got you. We're going to protect your pay plans. We're going to continue to pay you. We're going to give you free health insurance the next couple of months. We did a whole bunch of different things for our employees to kind of keep them going. And the second we opened back up, it takes you a little while to get going. We brought everybody back, where a lot of companies didn't do that.
Yeah.
Because I go, a full team is going to be way better than competing against a half a team.
Right.
And that really helped us to grow as well. And we did we figured out early on during COVID that you couldn't sell cars, but these manufacturers were going to take a lot longer to gear back up. So there was going to be a deficiency in new cars. So while we were shut down, we went out and bought a couple thousand new cars out there. And
you were very bullish.
Yes,
very down times.
Right. And we realized that everything's got to come to an end. Every recession has to come to an end. Yes. COVID has to come to an end.
Sure.
And I probably didn't think it was going to be as good as what it was coming out of that, but it really gave us a nice boost.
Yeah,
you can't run a business scared. Yeah. A lot of people tend to run scared. We look at what could go right, not what could go wrong.
That's right. As you sit here today in 2025, and we're in the middle of 2025, what's your 5-year plan for the company? What does that look like? Is it? I know you're not chasing a number per se, but where is that? If somebody would just say we're sitting here in 2030, what does the company look like?
We're looking for constant improvement always in the organization. We'll continue to grow where it makes sense when the right opportunities come up. And usually we have the person before we have the opportunity. Really? So we've kind of created our own NADA school in-house. We call it our performance group.
That's great.
I run it hands-on. It gets me to know we usually had about 10 or 12 individuals in there. It gets me to know them intimately well. And we also have conversations with people about their careers. What do you want to do?
Right.
Some person, maybe I want to run one dealership. Somebody else might want to run 10.
Yeah.
And they have to certainly accomplish certain things to be able to do that. But that helps us to be able to grow out there. So I think we're going to just stay the course.
Okay.
And continue to grow where it makes sense. We're going to continue to develop our people and then really focus on having that world-class culture.
Sure. Some of your colleagues in the industry that have got large groups have made these general managers partners in their deal, and some of them have said, hey, if you can put together enough money and you can do a buy-in, we'll give you a piece of the dealership. Do you run that type of an operation, or are they all wholly owned by Ziggler? So
they're all wholly owned by Ziggler, and I've seen a lot of those deals, and almost all of them fail. Almost all of them fail for the general managers.
I do have some personal experience on that.
So I always tell guys, if you don't have 51%, it doesn't matter. It's almost kind of a fake facade.
Very good point.
There's certain people that certainly chase the title, and I get that, and chase the ownership thing.
Some of my friends that were supposedly dealers with their name on the sign got fired.
Correct. Yeah.
So how did that
There's
happen?
nothing that can prevent that from happening. Right. And if you put money in or you're borrowing money to do that, then you can't get the money back out. It seems like about close to 100% of partnerships don't work out eventually. And I know there's a few guys that have been successful out there doing it, but a lot more have been unsuccessful with that. But we treat our guys like partners. We pay them like partners, but they have a steady stream of income. They never need to write a check to us for anything. And our guys really like that consistent cash flow and being treated like a partner.
Right.
Yeah, I let the general managers really run the dealerships. They can make any decision really that they want.
Nothing is a centralized where Ziggler corporate runs the stores.
No. So we always say that we run a fairly flat organization, but our auto group, which is a parent company, is just there to support the stores. So if a GM doesn't need somebody to come in, we don't have somebody come in, but we have experts, whether it be on F&I or fixed ops or variable ops.
Sure.
So when they have questions or they want to bring people in, they can call them in, but it's always being invited into a store. So we're not going to go in and tell somebody how to run a store.
Right.
Our guys are professionals. They know how to do that. We're going to, we're going to give them as much rope as they need to be successful.
Yeah. You're looking for good CSI, good ESI, and a strong bottom line. And if they're doing that, then get out of their way.
Exactly. And we're gonna continuously build new facilities and upgrade, and the manufacturers really like that because that's a part of your brand as well. As gorgeous as this facility is, we're gonna end up doing some things to this facility here in the next year or two.
Wow.
Correct.
I don't know what you could do to this facility to make it better, but
come back when it's done, and you'll be able to see.
Will it be in the same location?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We love the location. We love the facility.
Yeah.
We're just going to do some enhancements to it.
Well, it's very, very nice as it sits today. We came by last night, and there were no Ferraris outside at all. And then we drove in today, and now you've got a lot full outside. So all those.
Yeah, we put them inside every night.
Every night. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. That's to keep any problems that might exist away, right?
Yeah, we've been pretty fortunate to not have many issues.
Yeah.
But
where have you shipped a car? What's the furthest distance you've shipped a Ferrari to a client?
Pick a state in the United States: Florida, California.
Are you allowed to ship them overseas?
We don't ship out of the country.
Okay.
So we keep everything in the U.S.
Okay.
Some of our other brands, like Jeep, we sell a lot of Jeeps in Alaska. Yeah. There's a shortage of Jeeps up there, and people fly into Chicago, buy a Jeep from us, and drive it back to Alaska.
Maybe that's the next location for a Ziggler store, for a Ziggler Stellantis.
I don't know if I can handle the 24 hours of no sunlight in the winter.
That's right. So that's a great segue to my next question. What does Aaron Ziggler and his family do for fun? What do you play golf? Are you a boater? You're working all the time. You've got a huge responsibility. What do you do to relax?
Yeah, kind of all the above. I love racing cars.
Okay.
So I'm at the track a lot on the weekends.
Okay.
We're the primary sponsor of the number 77 NASCAR with Carson Hosevard. So I attend a lot of the NASCAR races. We do a lot of events wrapped around with the teams and our customers. We did one here in Chicago last Saturday night. So I own a handful of race cars myself. I race in the Radical Series right now. I'll be in the Ferrari Challenge Series next year.
Very cool.
And then I do like to play golf as well, and love the water. Love being on boats and stuff. So we work hard and play hard, is the way we say.
Exactly. And that racing situation could be very expensive, can't it? I mean, that's something you got to have a real stomach for.
Yeah, it can, but we've also made a business out of it. And so with BMW, we have the motorsports franchise. So we sell the track-specific BMW race cars.
Okay.
We do with Ferrari with their Ferrari Challenge cars. So we're heavily involved in the racing side of it from a business standpoint, as well as supporting guys that race.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. So, if your dad was here right now, what would he say about his son growing the company and running it to a couple of $1 billion a year and doing the job that you've done, which has just been outstanding?
Yeah, I think he'd say he's proud, and I think it's been a great relationship between the two of us. There's hardly ever been a crossword between us. 99.9% of the time we're on the exact same page, which is a lot of fun because it's not always that way.
Sure.
In families, we've got I got a tight knit relationship with my kids too, and they were all at the NASCAR race this weekend, and they go to a lot of events that we host with our customers and community. So it's really kind of a big family affair, and it's been a lot of fun.
Do you have any siblings?
So I don't. No,
okay.
Just me.
Yeah, that's great. So Dad is very proud and wants you to just keep going, keep buying,
Yeah. When we originally were buying stores, he used to question it a little bit more, and then it worked out pretty well. So he's kind of along for the ride.
Would he make the statement, "Don't make me come back in there and go to work," right? Because I'm enjoying my retirement.
Yeah, he's never said that, but he's, like I said, he's still the chairman of the company. He's still somewhat active out there.
Sure. What are the things, if any, that keep you up at night, either about your group or about the industry, or maybe the overall economy from a macro level?
I actually sleep pretty well at night. I tell our employees, do the right thing always. Don't ever do anything unethical or illegal, because I want to go to night knowing that we're doing all the right things. Yeah. Probably the biggest thing slowing the industry down right now is interest rates. And I think those are going to start to drop down. We've been a little slower than the other countries to be able to do that, but that'll supercharge the industry, because that goes into 95% of our customers buy a car based on their monthly payment.
Okay.
If that interest rate's higher, the monthly payment's a little bit higher, slows down the industry a little bit. So I think that's the number one thing that they could do right now. Yeah. I think in the past it would have been going all EV, because we knew that would not work. Right. It would crush the industry. It would result in millions of job losses. But now, as the rules have changed on that, we feel a lot more comfortable with the direction that we're going.
Do you feel good about the big, beautiful bill that's just been signed?
I think there's parts of it that everybody looks at that and goes, how does it affect me? There's parts of it that you like, and there's parts of it that you don't like.
Right.
But overall, we had to keep the tax cuts. We had to make them permanent.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of lower taxes. I think people can spend their money better than the government can, and that will spur the economy going forward. And I think if you didn't get the tax cuts done, it would have slowed things up substantially more, because people are kind of used to that now, right? And all of a sudden, so it'd be this huge tax increase out there that we've kind of avoided now. So I think that's going to be helpful to the business community.
Yeah, no question about it. Overall, feeling good about the industry for the second half of this year?
Yeah, I think the industry's solid. I think it's going to be the second half of the year is going to be stronger than the first half of the year. We're seeing things slowly start to pick up, especially if we get some things that were headwinds like interest rates getting behind us that become tailwinds going forward. And a lot of stuff is already behind us now, I believe. So I think the economy's pretty solid. As you said, the stock market's doing great. And I think the industry's pretty solid right now. So we've also got a lot of pent-up demand from COVID. There's 12, 13 million units that didn't get sold.
That's right.
And I think a lot of those people are waiting for the rates to drop down a little bit. Right. That's made the average age of a car older than it's ever been before. I think it's like 14 and a half years.
Yeah.
The offset to that is our service business is doing record month after record month. It's been an incredible what we're doing from a service standpoint, because people have kept their vehicles longer.
That's right. It's good to be a car dealer right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. It's always good to be a car dealer. It's just a fun industry. You meet a lot of unique people. Right. You and I would have never met if it wasn't for the car industry, right? So it's a ton of fun.
Yeah. Aaron Ziggler, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. This has been fantastic. I know that our dealer viewing audience and managers will get a lot out of it. So thanks so much.
Appreciate you coming in.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Thanks for watching the Executive Profile, exclusively on CBT News. Today's episode has been sponsored by the Presidio Group.